Hey guys, my name is Matsumo, and welcome to your episode of Sunday Mailbox. This is a video series where you, the viewer, can submit your gaming-related questions, and then I'll give my humble opinion on them. To get the format is out of the way real quick, if you'd like to submit your own question that could be featured in an upcoming episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below, or by sending me a Facebook or Twitter message. The first question today comes from Cody, and it is, Ubisoft has indicated that they are not happy with Lesion. How do you think that they're going to nerf him? Well, I can definitely understand why Ubisoft has made this announcement. Lesion is an operator that I've always fallen back on, especially if I'm solo queue, because he basically does it all. You need to have someone watch your back, but no one on your team is using a microphone and making callouts? Well, just use his goo mine to gather information. You need to win a one-on-one situation? He's got a fantastic weapon that will get the job done. You need to have someone that will slow down the progress of offense because they're constantly rushing the objective. Lesion also fulfills that. Just from a power standpoint, he's incredibly strong. On top of all of that, though, and Ubisoft has admitted this now, that he is a frustrating operator. I am getting to the point now where if I go against a Lesion, I just roll my eyes and groan because I know that it's just going to be a chore to get anywhere near that objective. He completely eliminates the stealthier component of playing on offense, especially with the recent changes to Nook. I love to play as her now, but if I go against a Lesion or an Ella, it's just, okay, I guess I'm not going to be stealthy anymore. Having operators that slow down progress, I know is a necessity, but do we need to have someone that is this strong and this frustrating? And Ubisoft has stated that they're not really happy with him right now. The question is, though, is how are they going to go about changing him? One idea that I've heard bounced around a lot is just eliminate the initial damage when you step on his goo. I cannot tell you how annoying it is when you're at 10 HP, you need to push on to the objective, but you can't check every nook and cranny of the floor to make sure that there is an Lesion mine there. You step on one and you immediately get taken out. It's just that sense of basically inevitability that makes him so frustrating. Another idea that I've heard bounced around, and I realize that not everyone is going to be on board with this, is just eliminate the invisibility or make it more obvious where these are located. If it is going to have that cloaking, maybe make it not as effective as it is. And so as long as you're a little bit more observant of your surroundings, you can identify them a bit faster. Now, I understand that this has the potential of going in the complete opposite end of the spectrum, where it just makes his gadget obsolete. If everyone has no problem identifying where they're located, no one's going to step on them, and while yes, they're still going to have to take a shot, which is going to notify people in the vicinity that someone is nearby, it's going to be nowhere near as effective, and so it kind of defeats the purpose of making a change if you're just going to make his gadget completely worthless. And so all in all, I'm not entirely sure what Ubisoft is going to do here. They could reduce the cooldown so you're not able to throw as many around the map in a match. That's one possibility. They could reduce the damage, maybe reduce his effectiveness of his weapon. I'm not entirely sure. And so let me know what you guys think on this topic. Clearly, Ubisoft isn't happy, but how do you think they're going to go about it? Do you agree with the suggestions that I've made? Do you think they're going to go another way? Give me your guys' thoughts down below. The next question comes from Ollie, and it is, do you think that Siege should have a sort of marketplace where you could sell unwanted charms, etc., or trade them for others, as there is nothing more annoying than getting a duplicate and only getting 3,000 or 4,000 renown when you could sell it for 10. I don't see this happening. Maybe they're going to surprise us with a year 5 announcement that they're adding in a market for the community to take advantage of, but it just goes against everything that they've been doing. You sort of answered your own question in there. If you're able to get 3,000 to 4,000 for a duplicate now, but if they added in this market, you could get 10,000 to 15,000 renown out of it, so double, triple, or even more, you're going to then be able to use that extra renown to buy other cosmetic items, which means you're probably less likely to buy their premium Rainbow Six Siege currency, which is something that Ubisoft doesn't want to have happen. And so while from a player perspective, that's awesome, we would be getting more out of this, I just don't think that is something that Ubisoft would want to promote. The other reason why I'm not really sold on this idea is that, well, I'm sure a lot of people would just trade amongst their friends. You know that there would be people that would do this to try to make actual money and undercut Ubisoft. Even if they only allowed you to trade with renown or other items amongst each other, you know that there would be third-party websites that would pop on up that would become like the intermediate between players, and that could cause its own issues. And so in general, well, I know a lot of people like this idea. I get this question all the time, and I'm not fully well-versed on this topic, and so take my opinion with a grain of salt here, as you always should. I just don't see this happening for these reasons. The next question comes from Daniel, and it is, do you think that Ubisoft should stop making new operators for a bit and work on the other operators? I don't think that they should stop entirely. I think one of the reasons why this game has been as successful as it has over the years is that they always are adapting and always bringing in new content for people to enjoy, be it maps and new characters. This is also one of the reasons why each season they have a huge influx of players joining and returning to Siege, because they want to experience that new content. And so if they eliminated one of the more appealing, because that's one of the biggest reasons why I personally, I'm assuming many of you get excited about the new seasons, is that the new playstyle and new gameplay that they add on in. If they remove that entirely, I think that would probably hurt the game in the long run. That said though, you might be getting your wish. This is a rumor, so take it with a grain of salt, but people are saying that Ubisoft is only going to be releasing 6 operators next year instead of the normal 8, so that they have more time to focus on old operators and give them the attention that they deserve. Ubisoft has been saying forever now that they want to rework Tachanka, but they never have. They've said similar things about Frost and Castle, but obviously nothing has really changed significantly. And so on the one hand, I know that some people are going to be disappointed by this news. 6 is less than 8, the ones that we were expecting. But on the other, if they can deliver and really give time and attention to those characters that have been needing a rework forever, I'm okay with that. Once again, we're gonna have to wait and see, but you might be getting your wish. The next one comes from Tactically Tasty, and it is, how do you feel about Ubisoft oversaturating certain operators with cosmetics? I feel like they default to a handful of operators during events and would love to see more cosmetics for operators like Ying and Lion, etc. Well, I imagine it's for a lot of reasons, but if I had to take a guess, the main one is that Ubisoft is a business. They want to sell as many cosmetic items as they possibly can because that makes them the most money. And so when you have operators like Ash or Jaeger who are super popular and people are buying those cosmetic items for them, they're incentivized financially to make more of those cosmetic items. You have people like Fuse or Ying and Lion. While there are a subset of people that do enjoy playing as them, they're nowhere near as popular or as iconic, and so they're not going to get as much attention. Now, that doesn't tell the whole story, though. There are some characters that are very popular that seem like they're getting ignored in the cosmetic department, and then there are others that hardly ever get played who seem like they're constantly getting new items every couple of seasons. Why would that be? We have to remember that all of these items are created by artists. They have to think of a theme for the operator that fits the character and then get inspired to make something like this. And so maybe the devs over at Ubisoft, the artist department, they're just not inspired by Ying or Lion. And then the third option is it could be all completely random. Maybe by pure coincidence, some characters are getting more than less. I have a hard time believing that, but that's also a possibility. All in all, though, I think that's what really comes down to. I would love for Ubisoft to try and spread out these cosmetics over a wider array of different characters, but they're going to focus their time and effort in creating the items that are going to sell to the largest amount of people because they have a financial incentive to do so. The next question comes from David, and it is, do you think that with the buffs to Glaz and Ying that Warden might be more useful? My personal belief why Warden never really did that well is that they nerfed the 2 operators he counters at the same time as he was released. I think you're onto something with this. Before Warden came out, a strategy that was very prevalent was to place down a smokescreen and then plant the diffuser. If you're playing on Bank in particular, down below in the basement, this was the most common strategy, and it's still used today somewhat, but that was something that you saw basically every single round. With the introduction of Maestro and other operators that countered that strategy, and Glaz got a pretty significant nerf, those tactics kind of fell by the wayside and they weren't used as often. And so once Warden was introduced, he didn't really do anything because no one was ever throwing down smokescreens anymore. With that said though, I do think that Warden is going to get more useful as time goes on. With this most recent update in particular, Ying is amazing. If more people gravitate towards her, he is going to be that counterbalance that kind of brings her down. As seasons go on and more operators have access to more of those kinds of gadgets, his influence and his usefulness is slowly going to rise. Much like IQ, when the game released, she was fairly mediocre, but as time and more operators came out, she counters more and more of them, and now she's arguably one of the better operators on offense. That same story might happen for Warden as well. Yeah, guys, that is what it for today's episode of Sunday Mailbox. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you thought about what we discussed in today's video. Do you think that Warden is going to see more play in the future? Why or why not? Let me know down below in the comments. As always, if you'd like to submit your own question for an upcoming episode, you can also leave a comment or by sending me a Facebook or a Twitter message. But until next time, guys, have a good one and take it easy.